about our dinner. So remember to block your me time.
Hybrid work has been like a tightrope balancing act. Every day is a new challenge. I love problem solving, and that keeps me going every day.
I'm passionate about photography, and three-dimensional work actually allows me to balance my work priorities and my passion itself.
I take advantage of our three-dimensional workplace in building a new relationship with local communities. I enjoy spending my extra hours I generated mentoring local area high school students to enable them to find something special.
The best part of three-dimensional workplace is that when you're tired, you can just stay home and work there. Just take it easy, and when you're feeling energized, you want to see your familiar faces, then you can just go to the office and meet them. It's that flexibility that gives me power to work more. That's what works for me.
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 Hi everyone, my name is Lin Dang. My pronouns are she, her and hers, and I'm the HR lead for Microsoft Singapore and Vietnam. I'm so very excited today to actually introduce and moderate this upcoming panel we have around the Leadership Perspectives panel on making hybrid work work. As organizations around the world, and certainly here in APAC and Asia, are preparing to make this shift from remote work into hybrid work, we know that it's going to be a new experience for all of us. There's no erasing the lived experiences and lasting impact of the last 2 years. And we know that employees have new expectations when it comes to work. Employees want flexibility and they want in-person face time. They're also making career changes that prioritize their personal goals, their purpose and their well-being. So understanding and keeping pace with these new expectations is a challenge facing every leader today. And so with that, I'm very excited and delighted to have two very incredible leaders really join us from Microsoft and LinkedIn today and really get their insights on this transition, how they're thinking about reimagining the employee experience, the roles of leaders and managers, attracting and retaining talent, and rebuilding social capital in a hybrid future of work. So without further ado, let me introduce our two fantastic leaders. So first we have Andrea Della Matteo. Andrea is the president of Microsoft Asia Pacific, where she leads the strategic directions and operations of the company across 16 countries. She and her team enable businesses of all sizes to embrace technology as a platform for continuous innovation and inclusive economic growth. Andrea is deeply passionate about empowering people, and this is something that I can attest to, having worked with Andrea in the HR function. With more than 25 years experience in the business tech sector, she has led companies across Australia, America and Asia Pacific. She's a member of numerous boards and she's an advocate for inclusivity. That includes encouraging girls in STEM, women in leadership roles and enhancing the employability of people with disabilities. Welcome, Andrea, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Lynn. Super excited to be here with you.
Wonderful. And also joining us is Fionn Ang. Fionn is the Managing Director of LinkedIn Asia Pacific. She spearheads LinkedIn's business strategy. She's an incredibly accomplished and award-winning business executive. I'm so excited to have her here. She really looks at expanding and accelerating the growth of LinkedIn's APAC business. Prior to joining LinkedIn, Fionn spent more than 13 years in Gartner in various leadership positions, including the Regional Vice President of APAC, and she was instrumental in setting up offices in emerging Southeast Asia markets and China. As one of the first female leaders recognized globally for her leadership skills at LinkedIn, Fionn is personally passionate about nurturing talent, especially female tech talent, and she takes an active interest in building and empowering high-performance teams to deliver outstanding results. So welcome, Fionn, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Lynn. Really glad to be able to join you guys.
It's wonderful to have you both. So I know that we have a lot to discuss, so let me get straight into it. My first question is actually to the both of you, and maybe some reflections that we want to do, because I really want to think about what you've learned. What are your biggest learnings from leading your organizations through this uncertainty and change that we've had over the last 2 years? And how is it shaping your approach as we think about moving towards this hybrid work? Andrea, I might start with you.
Yeah, absolutely, Lynn. Look, I think it's fair to say the last 24 months haven't been easy for anybody. And we've all had to juggle work and family, health, our loved ones, and to be honest, even just to think about our own mental health. And let me take a moment to thank all of our healthcare workers and the frontline responders who've really led us through these difficult times over the past couple of years. And the pandemic has been hard for everyone, but in different ways. Some have had to take care of elderly, working from home with young children. We know how challenging that can be, my gosh. With people who are joining as new hires. And look, just knowing when to disconnect, well, they're just a couple of examples of how we've seen, people challenged in different ways than they have been before. But it has been particularly challenging for people with disabilities who have felt marginalised and disconnected with the rest of the workforce. So coming to your question, look, my biggest learning as a leader is that empathy is more critical than ever. And we need to have empathy for the myriad of personal journeys and challenges we faced and how this has changed the definition of a modern workplace. So the way we work has evolved from remote to hybrid. That's kind of become the word that we're all talking about now. And we need to recognise the differences here. It's important for us to give people flexibility to work when and where they can, and to respect boundaries and to build safe spaces for them to connect with leaders and managers and to ensure that they feel connected in the realm of hybrid work. And look, tech's a great enabler for this. And we continue to revamp even our office spaces to incorporate truly hybrid events and meeting experiences for both in-person and as well for virtual attendees. We're actually customer zero ourselves, if you will, with Microsoft Viva, which enables rich data with privacy at the core. And that helps create a culture that can promote wellbeing, learning and collaboration. And look, we recognise that people have reprioritised their lives and want to continue prioritising their lives as we return to our offices. And it's important that we recognise that our collective lived experiences over the past 24 months, well, look, they just can't be erased by returning to the office without a strong hybrid work culture. We actually recently launched the 2022 Work Trend Index report, which really brings this into light. We're seeing that 57% of employees in Asia are now more likely to prioritise health and well-being over work than before the pandemic. So Microsoft, we practice three-dimensional work personified by the motto, #WorksForMe. So essentially, three-dimensional work it's built on our culture of flexibility, inclusion, and of course, trust. So as our offices across Asia start to open, we believe that work can no longer be two-dimensional interactions behind screens or three-dimensional interactions in person, but needs to evolve to being three-dimensional. So in summary, Lynn, it's about combining the best of both worlds. So the flexibility to work from anywhere and the connections and camaraderie that can be found through in-person human connection.
Thanks, Andrea. And yes, I really love this hashtag we have at the moment, the works for me, three-dimensional work. And Leon, what about your perspective on this?
Well, I totally would hear what Andrea is saying, and it just brings to mind the idea of flexibility is so real. I think organizations are beginning to realize the possibilities. Like it's evident that people is able to get work done either remotely or some sort of hybrid format. So flexibility is what workers are desiring for, and we are also seeing that it's a possibility of getting work done. So, I mean, personally, I can't imagine work without that flexibility. I've got 3 young kids. They're slightly grown up now, not so young, but with aging parents and kids at home, I think that flexibility is what a lot of workers actually desire to have. I think it comes down to how employers need to think very clearly about what flexibility means for their workers and how they're going to build that as part of the future of work. that's just what people are looking for, and that's what employers are able to do as well. The second thing that we are beginning to see is, between this whole pandemic, we're seeing a quick change in terms of skills. Even our data suggests that between 2015 to 2021, the same job, the same occupation, there's a change of 25% in change in skills. So, this pandemic has definitely hastened that phase of change, and we are beginning to see companies desiring digital skills. And so the pace of change in terms of skills change is going to be even more. And we expect by 2025, this pace of change is going to be up to 40%. So that's a lot for us to think about of what it means for all of us going into the future.
Right. Thank you, Fiona. And I'm definitely going to come back to talk about that around the skilling and development. But I just want to go back to what you both talked about, which is around, Andrea, you talked about leading with empathy, and Fiona, you talked about this culture of trust and flexibility as well. And so we know that it's evident that this shift to hybrid work must begin with culture. And so really to create this supportive environment where our employees and our teams, they can still feel connected, they're working, collaborating, engaged together, regardless of where they're joining from. And sometimes it's in person, and sometimes you have people dialing from different places as well. But it's really about empowering them to do their best work based on this culture that we have. So, Andrea, you mentioned technology will continue to play that great enabler role, but it's up to our leaders as well to embrace a growth mindset and take on this intentional approach to building for this future of work. So I guess my next question is really for you, Andrea, because many of us are really doing it for the first time. It must be quite difficult managing this hybrid workforce. So what should leaders specifically thinking about when it comes to managing a hybrid workforce?
So, Lynn, look, in most cases, we see that it actually isn't about the job or the role, but it's about people. People want to work for people who inspire them and who can take them on that journey of growth. And to your point, growth mindset, right? That's one of the pillars of our culture here at Microsoft. And what we're seeing through the research is that the gap between leadership and employees, it's actually increased more than ever, where now 57% of managers in Asia feel that leadership are actually out of touch with employee expectations. And 78% of leaders say that they don't have the influence or resources to drive the change for employees. So just think about that for a moment, right? You have 1 and 2 feeling like roughly leadership's out of touch, but then roughly 3 and 4 leaders saying they don't feel they have the influence to drive the change. And look, that really breaks my heart to hear this, because fundamentally our manager expectations are modeled around a concept of model coach and care. And this is really a blueprint, if you will, for equipping managers to create clarity, to generate energy, and of course to deliver success that can promote manager development based on feedback from our employees. And listening to our employees is crucial towards making hybrid work a success. So our Daily Pulse survey, which of course is anonymous, captures employee sentiment as it evolves in relation to culture and climate. And that information, well, it's gold for our leaders to be able to decide and think about the changes that they need to be able to make, because it helps provide actionable insights to leaders and managers across all of our various business units. And it also enables leaders to be able to pivot based upon the feedback that continues to evolve. So look, at the end of the day, we see that people stay when they're motivated, when they're recognised, and when they're treated with empathy and respect. So as leaders, it's our responsibility to ensure that our leaders and our managers have the training, the tools, and the support to do that in a hybrid work environment. And you're right, Lynn, many of us haven't done this before. So this is a new muscle that we've been building across the organisation very much over the last couple of years.
Great. Thanks, Andrea. And Fiona?
Yeah, I think trust is such an important part of, the flexible work arrangement. In fact, when pandemic first hit, our CEO actually said that we're going to go with the basis of trust. I think the basis of trust is trusting your employees to do their best work anywhere they choose to deliver that piece of work. And that trust naturally get reciprocated. Interestingly, when employers exhibit that trust, employees feel respected, as what Andrea had mentioned, and people would want to do their best work as well. I think while we combine the idea of trust and we combine the idea of flexibility, I think organizations need to be a lot more intentional, even to create that space for people. Because flexibility could mean when employees are working from home, they could actually lead to burnout if they are unconscious about it, because the lines between work and home can get blurred. So like in LinkedIn, we are actually very conscious about it, where we have what we call a rest up day. We also have got no meetings Friday, or we have a day that we say, a day in a month that we just encourage people, be it virtually or in person, to actually do some activities together, be it it's just non-work related. So while organizations create that space for employees to work from home and having that trust, I think we can also be very intentional about helping our employees to make sure they create space to rest as well. And I think that balance will be highly appreciated, as demonstrated in LinkedIn. In fact, our culture statement is about creating an environment of a trusting, caring, inclusive, fun, and transformational. And that's the culture we aspire. And I think there's a lot that we can do there.
Correct. And just what you said there as well, Fion, around employee burnout and well-being. I know that the data of the last 2 years really did show us that people were spending more time in meetings, more time in back-to-backs. And I think that's the one learning that we can all take forward as we move into the hybrid work, is how do we create that space, as you say, for leaders to role model well-being here at Microsoft. And I love that sharing you did about LinkedIn, no meetings Fridays. I know we're exploring that here at Microsoft as well. And I think we've done no meeting Monday mornings, so that people have that space to think about their week and plan ahead as well. But we've also been using our technology as well, because a lot of the things that we learned was that technology can create more work for you, in more meetings, or you're doing more chats. But actually, we can also reframe how we think about technology and how do we use it to make better well-being decisions. I know at Microsoft, we're shortening our meetings now to automatically to 25 minutes instead of 30 minutes, and just having that space to not run back-to-back meetings is helpful. And we've incorporated Headspace, our mindfulness app, into really thinking about how do we create that space intentionally, as you say, in employees' days as well, and for leaders to role model that. So I really appreciate both your sharing around that as well. So I'm going to pivot towards another hot topic, because we have a predominantly HR audience as well. And I know this is really top of mind for a lot of my peers and colleagues as we talk about it. But you both mentioned earlier that people aren't just reflecting on how they're working, where they're working, when they're working. They're also focusing on their why. So, we've talked about the great reshuffle. I know both Microsoft CEO and LinkedIn CEOs have talked about the great reshuffle. And we know, even looking at our work trends data, that looking ahead, 52% of Gen Z and millennials are more likely to consider a new job in the new year. So sort of maybe, Fion, given these trends and also LinkedIn being LinkedIn's role in talent attraction, how does LinkedIn think about this, and how do you look at attracting and retaining talent?
Yeah. So when we covered the first two elements, which is like the essential pillars, creating flexibilities, because we know that many employees are actually looking for flexible work. We do know that up to up to 1.35 of people in Singapore actually desire that remote work flexibility as well. So that's one is important. I think creating that environment of trust is really essential. I think the third one that I'll add in will be having the opportunity for employees to learn and to grow within the organizations. People desire the purpose of their work a lot more. I think this pandemic has given the opportunity for people to kind of reflect what you just mentioned about not just about where they work, how they work, but why they work. And the why behind it is the purpose that the meaning of the work that they bring is far more important as well. So in LinkedIn itself, we are a lot more conscious in terms of how we are bringing learning and skilling into our people. And to the first point that I mentioned earlier in our opening, where I talk about how skills are evolving very quickly. You know, like I mentioned, between 2015 to 2021, we saw that the same occupation actually had a change in skills by 25%. And at this rate, at this pace, we expect that by 2025, that the pace of change will be even faster, if not the same. If not the same, it will be even faster. And the skills might be up to 40%. So I think it boils down to how employers are a lot more deliberate in how they reskill and provide opportunities for the people to have new roles and new pursuits to help them grow in their career.
Thank you, Fion, around that. And I think, I think you're right. Like, you touched on this incredibly important point around career development and skilling. And as you say, like, that 40% stat astounds me in the same role. And when we think about this future of work, we know that employees will need to develop new skills to adapt to this new way of work, to adapt to the innovation and the pace of innovation that's happening across our industries. So I think maybe, Andrea, like we've talked here at Microsoft, we talked about learning and development as a critical part of this hybrid workforce. What are your thoughts around skilling and learning in this sort of post-pandemic world?
So, Lynn, look, I really feel strongly that it's our responsibility as leaders and managers to really promote learning and development for a hybrid workforce. And Fion, you touched on this earlier. You touched on the pace of change increasing, and now that skilling is more important than ever. So we need to be intentional in creating space and time to enable our employees to take time out to learn. You know, we hear that a lot. People really want to learn, but making time, taking that time out to learn is where the challenge is. And Fiona, I loved your call out earlier on No Meetings Friday. Well, we've taken that concept and have implemented a no meeting rule on our learning days. So we've intentionally inserted learning days into the schedule for all of our team. And we've gone so far as to actually even create a calendar block to empower employees to dedicate that time towards learning. And look, learning content itself needs to evolve as well to adapt to the different preferences of the varied age and, cultural demographics that we have across our hybrid workforce. So some content, for example, is better consumed in bite-sized, almost TikTok-style format, if you will, and other content might be better consumed in long-form or podcasts, for example. And we've received amazing feedback just recently on our global standards of business contact training, which is actually now in its third season. And we've created this concept of binge-worthy episodes, if you will, complete with behind-the-scenes gag reels and actually some merchandising. And we actually have employees who now post photos with their colleagues who are actually featured in these videos, tagging them with their character names on Yammer. And the series are such a hit that they've kind of become a little bit viral within our company. But look, to summarize, the skilling isn't just internal. The reality is we also must continue investing to improve the societies and the countries in which we live in, with initiatives such as Code Without Barriers, which is very much focused on creating diversity and inclusion within the developer community, as well as the Microsoft Asia Pacific Enabler Program, which brings together nonprofits and employer partners and helps people with disabilities to increase their employability so that they can participate in the ever expanding need to support the economy as well. So they're just a couple ways, Lynn, that we're really bringing our responsibility around skilling and learning to life across the region.
Yeah, thanks, Andrea. I agree with you. I'm one of those employees who look forward to the new season of our training, because it is very binge-worthy, and you always want to know what happens. And and I think that is, as you say, like the future of learning is really making it engaging, and that it's going to come in different formats for different employee groups as well. Fionn, we obviously at Microsoft do a lot of LinkedIn learning as well. So in terms of your approach around skilling, do you want to share a bit more about that as well?
Yeah, I think when it comes to skilling and learning, it's just how organizations can be a lot more intentional, like what Andrea had mentioned. I think the more we are able to create that possibilities of internal mobility, whereby an employee is able to state their desired career, and that we are being very conscious about what are the learning paths that can help them achieve their career goal. I think that will be something that we hear a lot of employees are looking for. And the second element is, apart from what the employees desire, is a huge retention tool for companies. Companies that invest in their people has demonstrated that people are twice as likely to stay. So, with that investment in themselves to achieve their career goals, and companies investing in some of their great talent, they're able to actually attract and make some of their and help their employees evolve together with the organizations as well. And I think learning will continue to evolve with a combination of online as well as in person. That's what. That human connection is still important, but we are also seeing that online element of it is becoming a lot more evident in how people consume learning, because the accessibility, the kind of content that they now have access to, the breadth and the depth of content is no longer limited to that in-person connections, but is also being offered by anywhere, anytime. And by a lot of, there's a lot more choices when it goes online too.
I completely agree with you, Fionn, as well. And like you say, it's such an important factor when we think about attracting and retaining talent, and when we think about the employee and the data trends around, is that as employees ask more about their why, they're able to be empowered in the organizations to think about the learning that they do. What is it they want to do in their career perspective, and what's at offer? And as you say, having both the in-person element and the online that works for them is really important as well. So that's a very inspiring note to end on, Fionn, because as you say, it's about bringing everyone on the journey. The discussion went very quickly, and I know that we're at time, but I know that the audience would have found all your sharings and insights super useful, particularly as we navigate this hybrid work journey together. So really, thank you so much, Andrea and Fionn, for your sharing today. And so everyone, what we do know is that hybrid work, as both Andrea and Fionn shared, really requires a deliberate, thoughtful approach. It's not only about the technology to create these seamless digital and in-person experiences for everyone, regardless of where employees are working from and how they're working, but as both Andrea and Fionn have highlighted, it's really built upon a culture, and that culture of flexibility, of inclusion, of trust. It's putting people first and putting their well-being first. And leaders play such an important role to lead with empathy, and hybrid work can really unlock potential for a workplace that works for and includes everyone. That's the opportunity ahead of us. I know it's not going to be easy because, as Andrea said, we're all doing it for the first time, but it's something that I'm incredibly optimistic and excited about as we go forward. So I really want to thank our audience for joining us in today's session, and huge thanks again, Andrea and Fionn. Really appreciate your time today. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Lynn, Fionn. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lynn. Great insights from the Microsoft and LinkedIn leadership on the evolution of employee experience in the realm of hybrid work. At Microsoft, we created Viva as the employee experience platform of hybrid work. Through Viva, we aim to help organizations create a hybrid work environment that focuses on employee well-being, simplifies communication, makes learning fun, and knowledge management intuitive. Let me give you a sneak peek at what all you can do with Microsoft Viva. Viva Connections is your customizable morning company newspaper that enables employees to catch up on the latest news, key announcements, and upcoming events. It's also a great place to access company resources such as applying for leaves, checking rewards, and tasks. The dashboard is customized by roles such as information workers and frontline workers, ensuring employees get the most relevant views always. Viva Insights empowers you to carve out focused time to beat the meeting burnout. Schedule one-on-ones with your manager, and set up virtual commutes to close out daily tasks and warm down your day to wrap up the day with Headspace. The manager view presents a set of anonymized views to diagnose the risk of burnout due to after-hours collaboration, meeting fatigue, while making sure you have enough one-on-one time with your team members as a manager. The leader view presents an organizational view on avoiding silos, finding patterns of meeting burnout, and areas of empowerment to promote quick decision-making. Viva Learning brings the learning experience right into Teams, curating content across multiple sources such as LinkedIn Learning and Microsoft Learn. Viva Learning enables everyone to learn in the flow of work. You can easily find and share learning resources to foster a collaborative learning culture. Managers can easily assign courses and track completion to accelerate onboarding processes. Viva Topics magically connects you to knowledge and experts, supercharging the knowledge management systems. As an example, say you are new to the team and you want to know more about projects SOAR. You can hover your cursor over an adaptive card to see the quick resources that you can read or relevant people that can guide you better. If you want to see more detail, just click on it to find people, resources, and conversations related to the topic. You can even post your questions directly from Yammer and they get captured within Viva Topics. These pages are created automatically and make sure that sensitive information remains protected. We continue to innovate every day to further augment the employee experience platform of hybrid work, Microsoft Viva. Now over to Marco to demonstrate how we are reimagining the places where we work. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Marco, and I lead the Microsoft Technology Center for Asia Pacific. I'm here today to talk to you about reinventing where and how people work. We're all familiar with the convenience of working from home. Being able to step out for a coffee, some exercise, or spending some extra time with loved ones is something we maybe never knew we were missing. Organizations are therefore rethinking how to make the office worth the commute. From a work culture perspective, technology that is inclusive, transparent, and respectful will go a long way towards reinforcing the trust we have in our work to allow us to achieve and succeed in our jobs. The future of work may be hybrid or something else, but what will never change is the importance of the employee experience. The flexibility of the employee experience and transforming the office to be an inclusive space that amplifies how people want to work, rather than dictating it, is incredibly important. We are experiencing a noticeable shift in the value proposition of the office space, and we're redefining what it needs to be and to do, and what translates directly to the technology we interact with every day to get our jobs done. I can't wait to show you our practices within the Microsoft Technology Center and how we utilize Microsoft space and technology to make hybrid work for us. The Microsoft Technology Center is purposely built to empower digital transformation and business outcomes through industry experiences and deep technical engagements. We are a team of technical architects that work side by side with Microsoft's clients with a consultative approach to build trust anchored in business impact, always putting the voice of the customer at the center of everything we do. Located within the Microsoft Experience Center Asia, our space allows visitors to be inspired with immersive industry experiences and real customer examples of transformation. Let me share some of the tools, spaces, and technologies we have adopted to do our job both from within our Microsoft Technology Center here in Singapore and for remote, flexible, hybrid delivery. The Innovation Factory is specifically designed for our cross-solution architects to work alongside our customer teams in collaborative and hands-on engagements. It supports this goal by providing a state-of-the-art, private, secure, and fully loaded space to prove technology solutions in real time on real infrastructure and demonstrate the value of our solutions. Additionally, we hold industry days, family days, and community hackathons, where the only goal is to have as much fun and generate as many ideas as possible. As you can see, it's an environment that promotes collaboration and conversation and can be a great change of pace for some who prefer working in a vibrant environment with other people. This envisioning theatre is centre stage for our hybrid engagements. Here, we can stand in front of an audience that is not only present in this room, but streaming in from anywhere in the world, and be confident that the content and conversation we are facilitating is consistently brilliant for all participants. Our strategic sessions provide help and advice with developing an actionable strategy for our customers' business objectives through a discovery process that gives us insights and inspires the art of the possible with Microsoft solutions. All these sessions are interactive and conversational. We use our design thinking-based methodology to empathize, define, and align. And the remote experience is provided in real time by Teams and complemented by the Service Hub. The technology that supports this journey is essential to us being able to deliver on this aim, no matter where our architects and facilitators happen to be. We refer to this space as the modern workroom. It's equipped with Microsoft and partner technologies and is a showcase of how a modern meeting room or working environment could look. It's part of our modern work customer journey here at the Microsoft Technology Centre. Technology in this room aims to deliver and support an inclusive, seamless hybrid experience for meetings. Microsoft Teams Rooms gives everyone in the meeting a seat at the table and makes meetings quick and easy to join. It enables the full meeting experience, no matter the size of the meeting room, from a small huddle or large conference area. For example, you can use the single touch join functionality to join meetings very quickly if you have added the room into your meeting. The Teams Rooms devices will also be able to detect your laptop or mobile devices and show up as an option using Bluetooth technology with the proximity join function. When it comes to collaboration, the intelligent camera will come in handy for whiteboard. It'll capture the analog ink on a physical whiteboard and convert that into digital ink on your Teams meeting, making it effective and easy for remote participants to collaborate seamlessly. With this, all hybrid meetings can be inclusive and productive, using Teams' amazing sharing and collaboration features. The Microsoft Technology Centre brings together the right resources and experiences to explore the potential that Microsoft solutions can have on business outcomes. Our customers' journeys often start here, where we can show, not just tell our customers how technology initiatives can help transform their businesses. If you want to learn, be inspired, and get access to real business scenarios and industry experiences, and start exploring how to make your digital transformation real, reach out to your account team and let us take it from there. Next up, let's hear from Marks & Spencer, one of our retail customers, on how they brought seamless hybrid work experiences to life by leveraging some of the technologies and devices that we've showcased.
We've been primarily working from home throughout the course of the pandemic. Now we're able to come back to our support centres again, and this is starting to enable us to work in a truly hybrid fashion as we get the choice to work across multiple different workspaces.
Marks & Spencer is a British-based international retailer. We serve over 32 million customers through 70,000 magnificent colleagues in our stores, warehouses and support centres. Setting up the right hybrid working environment is a challenge that absolutely everyone is facing at the moment. We've been working really hard to make sure that people who are in the office and people remote can both contribute equally.
To enable hybrid working, we're using Microsoft Teams. We're finding that colleagues are now coming to the support centre for a reason to collaborate together as part of their day-to-day activities.
Marks & Spencer asked us to come in 2 days a week. The workplace booking app is brilliant. It's within a team on Teams, so it's really easy to find and simple to use. I can make a considered decision whether I want to attend and feel comfortable and safe in that environment. We come in with our team so we can collaborate together.
We've also been creating larger open collaboration zones, making use of Surface Hub 2S to make sure that when teams are coming together to collaborate or ideate, they have the tools there to be able to do that wherever they are working. There will always be somebody that has to work in a hybrid state for a multitude of reasons, and we need to make sure that the experience that they are having is equal and that they are fully involved.
The Surface Hubs makes it really easy to join Teams rooms. We can dial a room into a meeting really quickly, which is great if a number of us are in the support centre, and we can connect easily with colleagues who are at home or on the go.
The use of the Microsoft Whiteboard on those devices allows our teams to collaborate from wherever they are. Using the digital whiteboard allows people in other places to also contribute to that ideation.
The physical location doesn't really matter. Teams has been brilliant to allow that. And as we look at new ways of working, I know that Teams will be right at the heart of whatever that solution is in the future.
Thank you, Marco. It was a fantastic tour of Microsoft Technology Center, which creates that immersive meeting and innovation experience for our customers. Hello there, my name is Amit. I'm the Specialist Manager for Business Applications at Microsoft Singapore. At many organizations, we have observed that employees have so many applications to access during their day-to-day work. It could be applying for leave, it could be referring a friend for job, claim expense, check payslip, complete your learning. So many tasks to do and so many applications to go to. This could obviously be frustrating and confusing experience for many employees. And it's becoming all the more challenging to navigate so many applications when you are working in hybrid fashion. Imagine you're working from home, don't have colleagues to turn to for help, and you have to manage all these applications on your own. This hybrid work environment also brings up a need for new capabilities. Many of your friends and colleagues are joining and starting work remotely. How to onboard them into your company when they are working from home? Using digital tools. Many of these staff are missing out on their informal chat, around water cooler and coffee machine. They need tools for digitally connecting with their colleagues and friends and building a community around a common interest. Many of such hybrid work-related requirements have the attention of company leaders, digital transformation officers, and they are looking for a few things. Number one, they're looking for a simplified employee experience, a centralized go-to place for all employee transactions, interactions, and engagement. They want a very quick enhancement of this employee experience because they have to react very quickly to meet the employee expectations. At the same time, they don't want to throw away their existing applications and want to start from scratch. They want to leverage their existing investment. To address these asks at Microsoft, we envision Employee Hub solution, a centralized solution which leverages Microsoft Teams, Viva, and Power Platform. In Employee Hub, apart from carrying out the usual tasks such as updating your profile and making leave requests and complete learning, employees should also be able to make use of health and safety audits on the ground, report incidents, track project, document management, carry out crisis communication, all in one place with easy to use consumer grade user experience. All they need to do is to access Employee Hub embedded in Microsoft Teams or a mobile app, an employee super app developed on Power Apps. And they find all the relevant capabilities there. Thus, users don't have to go to applications. Applications are residing in their work environment, which is Microsoft Teams, or it could be a mobile device. The data which is entered or viewed in this Employee Hub is seamlessly connected to other backend enterprise applications. Because Microsoft comes with hundreds of ready connectors to most of the applications. Before we jump into more details on Employee Hub, I would like you to take a quick look at Coca-Cola example here. Coca-Cola utilized Microsoft Chatbot as a digital assistant to answer employee queries 24/7 across time zones, many languages, and this chatbot is accessible in Teams. How simple and easy is that to use? Having seen how digital assistant works at Coca-Cola, now is the time to take a quick tour of Employee Hub I have been talking about. I invite Zirong, our Power Platform Product Marketing Manager, to give you a quick glimpse of how Employee Hub looks like.
Thanks, Amit. Today, I'll be taking on the persona of Citi, a new employee that has just joined Contoso Electronics as a new hire. As the company is currently still adjusting to the return to work situation, Citi is actually having a hybrid onboarding experience, where majority of her onboarding learning is actually done virtually, while she also has a chance to meet her colleagues and customers in person. Well, fresh to Contoso Electronics, Citi takes comfort in the fact that she's able to find what she needs on a day-to-day basis through the Employee Hub app on Teams. She first accesses Teams, which is her one consolidated touchpoint for collaboration with her colleagues or personal productivity in her day-to-day working life. Once she accesses her Teams channel, she's then able to go to the Employee Hub app. In the homepage, she's greeted with an updated view of all of the events that are currently happening in Contoso Electronics, be it hybrid or virtual. Despite many multiple email invites that she's getting on these events, being able to have a bird's eye view of upcoming events, either hybrid or virtual, allows her to RSVP accordingly. She's also able to check on her profile information with easy access to information such as her employee ID, manager's full name, as well as her recent performance achievement progress. These are all information that employees want to have on their fingertips, rather than actually having to go into multiple systems in order to retrieve this information. Well, Citi could not only just want to access the Employee Hub on the desktop, she may also want to check on relevant information on the go. Today, Citi is actually on the go and she wants to take a quick look on the onboarding task that she has yet to complete. In this view, she's able to see all of the onboarding tasks that she's assigned to and see what are the progress that she's currently tracking with each of these individual tasks. Today, in this case, she needs to request for VPN access. Upon clicking the task, she's actually directed to a virtual assistant that would be able to help her out with raising a request for her open VPN access. She goes through a list of AI-generated questions, and her virtual assistant is actually able to help her open the ticket automatically to get VPN access. All of this information could be gathered through business requirements from the IT team in order to make sure that the VPN access situation and request can be properly met. So now you can see the virtual assistant is actually going to help Citi create a case such as she's able to then track it under her generic help desk. So with this case number that has been provided by her virtual assistant, she's able to go back to her generic help desk to check that this particular ticket has been created. In this help desk, she's not only able to see all of the tickets that has been created, she's actually also able to track the progress of these individual tickets, whether it's currently pending or has already been closed. Citi is into her 4th month of the job, and she hopes to take some time off the job. She goes into the Employee Hub application to raise a request for leave. Well, she goes into the time off application and creates a new request for leave. In this case, she has submitted her leave request and she's able to get her manager to then approve this particular request. Once a request has been raised, her manager, who is also working on Teams, gets a notification for an approval to be completed to Citi's request. Similar to Citi, her manager also works off Teams as a go-to hub for collaboration and productivity. The ability to approve any request and ticket directly on Teams allows her to be much more productive and be able to respond to the various needs of an employee more timely. As you can see from today's demo, the Employee Hub is Citi's trusted source of information and productivity tool as she navigates her new career in Contoso Electronics. She knows where and when things will be done and is very satisfied with the employee engagement that her new company has provided her with. As mentioned earlier by Amit in our presentation, our employees today seek for a one consolidated platform amidst fragmented experiences with multiple touchpoints. This will enable them to be more proactively engaged in defining the employee experience. Well, back to you, Amit.
Thank you, Zirong. That was an interesting demo. Contoso Electronics employee Citi can access the solution on Teams or mobile app to carry out a number of activities. She could complete her onboarding tasks, complete her learning, update profile, apply leave, all those. But hang on, it doesn't just end there. There are so many more ways she can engage with her colleagues through a digital native solution. It could be to give kudos to her teammates, to praise their work on a specific initiative, or find colleagues with a common interest, maybe an area to go and do cleaning, coastal cleaning, a common interest group, check on their well-being. Possibilities are limitless. All these capabilities could be uniquely needed at different organizations and can be developed super quick without much coding using Power Apps within a few days. By now, I hope you get some idea of how Microsoft Employee Hub can help you tide over hybrid work challenges and make the employee experience much more enjoyable. Do check out our Power Platform Employee Experience Starter Kit if you're interested to start building your own employee engagement apps and processes. And if anything from today's sharing interests you, please feel free to reach out to Microsoft representatives. Thank you so much.
Thank you all the speakers and customers who share their insights. It has been eye-opening to hear all the perspectives today in the hybrid work conversation. To wrap up, through the research and perspectives that we hear from our customers, we know that people want the best of both worlds. They want the human connection they had pre-pandemic, and they also want the flexibility that we all have experienced with remote work, which is what we call hybrid work paradox. With hybrid work going to stay and will continue to be the preference for some due to various reasons, we mentioned a couple of ways to make meetings and collaborations more inclusive by leveraging technologies like Microsoft Teams, Viva, Teams Rooms, and Service Hubs, etc. We also talked about our own practice of adapting three-dimensional work and making sure the way of work actually works for the individuals. But do bear in mind that there is no one-size-fits-all approach when it comes to hybrid work because different people have different styles and different needs. Like what our CEO Satya said, the only way for organizations to solve for this complexity in hybrid work is to embrace flexibility across the entire operating model, including the way people work, the places that they inhabit, and also how they approach business process. The organizations that succeed will find ways to accommodate different work styles as the path to help everyone do their best work. In closing, I just wanted to share 2 resources with you designed to help you in your own journey to hybrid. The first one is called Hybrid Work, a guide for business leaders. And as it sounds, it details Microsoft's approach across 3 Ps, which we mentioned earlier: people, places, and processes. You'll also be able to check out other related content like the latest Work Trend Index report and customer stories to understand how we bring hybrid to life. And the second one, our digital publication called Work Lab, where we're constantly publishing our latest research and articles designed to help you in your path forward. We're here to help you on your hybrid journey. If you're interested to hear more, you're more than welcome to reach out to your Microsoft account representative or your Microsoft partner. Now, once again, thank you so much for spending your time with us, and we look forward to working together.
been brilliant to allow that